know? Have you ever won a game on an insane dice roll? Have you ever killed a dragon using only chopsticks? Do you text your friends to distract them from your current moves? Can you finish off a pizza in between your second and third turn? Can you ride a panda across the plains of Dewey? Do you have what it takes to stop an evil wizard from destroying your village? Do you tell your friends to call you Dungeon Master? Can you muster the strength to play one more game after 2 a.m.? Can you be the chosen one all the way up to bedtime? Have you ever dared to say no and pick your best friend's favorite character anyway? Have you ever randomly shouted nonsense because you thought it would be funny, and it wasn't? Well, we haven't done most of those things either, but we are willing to try. Join us as we explore the world of board gaming and all the crazy things that come with it. Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast.
Welcome to the Epic Gaming Night Podcast, a podcast about tabletop games, but mostly board games.
And Hot Pockets.
I'm your host, Roy Canaday, and with me, as always, are Matt.
Hello.
And Rob.
Hello.
So yeah, man, Windows 10.
Windows 10 is fan... I'm just going to say that.
Better than 8.
I will say it is better than 8. I do like the interface, but I think I'm going to learn my lesson and not download or get a product after it first launches. I'm going to wait like a quarter and then get the product after they have some bugs and stuff fixed. Because I am that problem.
A reasonable consumer.
Well, because I do the same thing with video games, and that's one of the reasons why I quit playing video games so much, because they'll just put out a product that's unfinished, and then they'll patch it later. But we're not talking about Windows or video games. We're talking about board games, and I'm here with my good friends, Roy and the beard, Matt.
Nice. So our topic tonight is going to be negotiation in games.
And computer issues.
And computer issues in games. I don't think that's quite it.
No.
Perfect.
But first, I want to remind you guys about the contest over at analoggamer.com/giveaways. I think if you go and sign up right now, you have a pretty daggone good chance of winning a t-shirt.
No, I won the t-shirt, bro.
Oh, you're already there?
I'm just going to say, if you're watching this, Brandon Pleshik, or if you're listening to this, and I have not won that t-shirt.
Hey, you know how you can guarantee that you win the t-shirt? Just put a check in the mail for however much the t-shirt actually costs, and I'm pretty sure you'll win.
I already put a check in the mail like a month and a half ago for 2 other t-shirts that I ordered, but I'm waiting for a custom t-shirt. He's bringing back a Marathrash. I ordered one anyway, but this t-shirt, I feel like I won for my troubles on my last 2 t-shirts that I ordered. So, not to say that there's any troubles, because he does a great job, and he's actually reprinting a t-shirt that's out of print for me. So I'm pretty excited about that. But I will not be excited if I don't win.
But yeah, if you're listening to this, make sure to go check that out like right now, because
you'll be able to see my face in the winner box.
analoggamer.com/giveaways, and that contest ends on August 26th, 2015.
That's like in 8 days.
I know. Better hurry up. So, guys, what have we been playing?
Games.
Oh, man. I've had a fun week. How about you guys?
Matt, which game did you want to talk about?
Man, I don't know. There was that game where a room killed everybody, and then...
The room killed everybody?
Yeah.
What was that
So
room?
we played...
Did you look up that character's info? Like, did you wiki that character?
I remember part of it, and then I was like, man, I should go back and watch that. And then I got home and was like, nah, that's nah.
So we played X-Men Mutant Revolution.
Oh, I remember that game. I think I won the game. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a great game.
And now Matt has won the game.
You won too, or were you?
Yeah. I think I started off playing Cyclops, and then I had a character that was far better than Cyclops, and so I just sent her in instead, and she wrecked, and it was fun.
Awesome. I was Magneto. All right,
that was who Trevor played.
So how do you play, Matthew?
What's a good question? Honestly, you probably shouldn't ask me because I think I was confused most of the time while we were playing.
And the guy won.
Yeah, man. Hey, you don't have to know how to play. You just have to know you have an OP combo.
Right.
So
I broke the game.
Do you want me to go into it, Matt?
I would prefer you go into it. I could probably better describe. Was it Ryu?
Gotcha.
I feel that one's probably a little simpler for me.
X-Men Mutant Revolution is the re-theme of the Spartacus board game, like arena combat thing. In this game, you are taking the role of a mutant leader, leading one of 4 different schools. There's like the Brotherhood, and then like the Jean Grey school, and then Xavier's school that's led by Cyclops, and then another one that's led by Storm. So there's all these different mutant schools, and you're trying to gain hope to recruit new mutants into your school. So students will help give your school more hope, and then heroes will make the hope go down, but if they win, they can help gain hope as well. But they go out on these different missions to try to gain you hope and also gain you what is the word for the victory points in this game? It's like revolution. Yeah. So the point of the game is to get to 6 revolution points, and if someone has 6 revolution points at the end of a round, they win the game. But every game I've played so far, there's been at least 2 people tied, and the last game we played, there were 3 people tied at 6 revolution points at the end of the game. But yeah, you're recruiting different mutants using your hope, because whoever's the most has the most hope for a mutant kind, people want to join their side, and then you're sending these guys out on missions to gain revolution.
I hope
your side.
You win one.
Exactly. But yeah, it's pretty cool. There's like a cool bidding mechanism in the game. So you're trying to bid, and there's a lot of take that with these plot cards you can play on each other to help gain you some revolution or help gain you more hope. And you basically have to spend your plot points to be able to play those cards, and that's depending on how much revolution you currently have. So the more points you have in the game, the more points you have to spend on playing those cards. And you can trade characters and stuff like that. I don't think that happens that much in a 3-player game. It might happen if you actually play with 4. But yeah, you're just sending guys out on missions and all fighting all sorts of different crazy stuff. The one thing that's very different about this than Spartacus is that the missions aren't always just this guy fighting against that guy, like a gladiatorial arena thing. It's more like missions. So the first one we had to fight off a bunch of sentinels. And then we had one where there was this crazed mutant we had to try to calm down. And there was one where, who was it, Mr. Sinister was just wrecking us hardcore.
Oh, yeah, jeez.
So it's kind of some of these missions, there's these insanely overpowered NPCs, and the mission commander gets to control them, but it will still attack you even if you're the mission commander. So you're moving this guy around trying to figure out how to do some damage to him, but he's just doing massive amounts of damage to your character, so you got to try to be tactical about how you move around. But it's less about fighting each other and more about trying to do better in completing the mission than the other guys. So that way you're more hopeful for mutant kind. But it's a pretty fun game. I like it a lot. What did you think of the game overall, Matt?
I enjoyed it. I wish YouTube videos wouldn't start randomly, but no, it was good. I liked it. It had just a ton of X-Men characters, so it's I'm not that big into the fandom, but it was there's just tons of people, and I'm okay, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So my first turn, I killed Blindfold, or sent her away so that I could get money.
I bet she didn't even see it coming.
She was super scary looking, and I was I don't want to look at this for the rest of the game, so I was just goodbye. Yeah. Give me money, please. And then I moved on from there, but...
Yeah,
probably wasn't the best opening
I feel
move.
It's a lot of the newer X-Men and stuff like that, because I'm super familiar with the cartoons and most of the classic X-Men, but this has a lot of the newer stuff and a bunch of the other stuff probably that have to do with the storyline where there's the bunch of different schools fighting for mutant kind. So it's very interesting because you see a bunch of characters that you don't necessarily see in some games. So you're oh man, check this character out. I would like to actually know what they do. So then you have to wiki it and be oh, they're actually really cool. So.
Yeah.
Like the character that you had that you trained a whole bunch was Danger, which is basically where the Danger Room came to life and like turned into like an actual entity and was like walking around doing stuff. It was technically like a mutant. So
What?
She was beating everybody. So essentially, what happened in this game, what it came down to, is it looked like Roy was going to win, and then I played a card that I spent some of my revolution, some of Trevor's revolution on to give both me and Trevor the needed revolution points so that we all tied. And so that when we all tie, we go to like a sudden death, like 1v1 death match in the center. And so I had to fight Trevor. And so I sent Danger in, and Trevor sent in Magneto, and then Danger just like destroyed him. And then right after that, I had to fight Roy, who was Wolverine, and Danger was just like, nah, just get clowned on. And I was just like, yes, this is amazing.
Yeah, Danger had pretty decent stats, and then you like gave her like one extra range, and then like what was the other thing you gave her? Like an extra something else,
an
like
extra defense, and then she had the
die.
power that. She had like a special ability that she could use to re-roll all die while defending if she didn't like the results, and I was just like, "Oh yeah!"
In that last battle, I really wanted Trevor to win because even though Magneto versus Wolverine isn't fair, I would still it'd be better doing that than going against your super trained Danger. So,
yeah, it was enjoyable.
Nice.
Well, nice.
What'd you play, Rob?
Well, man, I played several games this week. And speaking of Trevor, myself and Trevor and JJ and Brandon, started a Star Wars Imperial Assault campaign, where there's a whole campaign, and it's myself and JJ and Brandon versus Trevor. And so what's great about this is we do missions, and it's basically, if you're a fan of Descent, it's a dungeon crawl with a Star Wars theme on it, but it completely works by itself. I absolutely love it. It doesn't. The mechanics are similar, so I don't want to say it's just like a pace it on theme, but in a way it kind of is compared to Descent. But I really love this game. Your character levels up, and you can buy better gear in between missions, and also in between main missions, you have to do little side missions as well. So you have a chance. To get a good, decent character, but if you do bad, you don't get as much money, and so your characters don't necessarily level up as the levels get harder, and so it just becomes harder. So I'm really looking forward to continue that. Man, I've been playing a lot of Ashes. That game is so ridiculous, and I have this amazing deck, and I'm in love with it, and I haven't lost with this custom deck yet. It's just so good. It's so good, bro.
With all the what were it? The little spirit things?
The
like
little Miss Spirits? Yeah, but they're not, I mean, they're probably one of my favorite units, and it's not that they're powerful. They're only a 1/1, and they recover 0. They have 1 attack, 1 life, and they recover 0. But you can get a lot of them out really quick and just get in the way of people to let other units do big things, and so they can become annoying. And so been playing that a lot. But then my family and I, the other night, we were sitting down. It was a long day, and I was like, hey, let's just play a game. And so I got out Flick 'em Up, and Flick 'em Up is by Pretzel Games, and this game is awesome.
I really want to play.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to bring it on a Friday night. It plays between 2 to 10 players, and you get a group of cowboys. They're either the bad cowboys or the good cowboys. And we played the basic generic scenario. Everyone, since it was just me versus my wife with my 2-year-old daughter helping, and she actually got really good at flicking the disc.
That's awesome.
We played the generic scenario, and the whole goal is each team got 5 cowboys. You won if you knocked or if you killed 3 of the other cowboys. Each cowboy has 2 actions per turn. You can either move or you can shoot. You can move. You can shoot. It's whatever combo you want, but you have 2 actions per turn. And the way you move in the game is you get this real big fat disc, and you have to flick the disc. Now, if your disc hits anything while you're moving, it doesn't count as a move. You can't move there. And so you have to be careful. Like, we tried to hide behind some cactus, and there was one turn where I completely busted my turn because I kept on knocking over the cactus as I was moving my disc. And then you get these little discs for shooting, and those are fun. But I tell you what, man, those little things fly. We had to chase some pieces.
Welcome to
flicking those
dexterity
discs-
games.
Well, because my wife, she was really good, patient, and just hit it just softly, and my guy would just fall over, and so I'd get upset. So I'd flick really hard. Nope, the disc is going to the left. It's going to the right. But it was just a lot of fun. I felt like a cowboy for a little bit. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but they have like the saloon and the general store.
Did you have the
and they have
Western
the bank.
music playing in the background?
We didn't. I think we had like some Mickey Mouse music in the background for my daughter or something. There was something,
Nice.
some childlike music going on.
Mickey
but-
Mouse is Western.
Well, they have some Western episodes, but right now we're really
Yeah.
big into Mickey on Mars. We love the spaceship Mickey right now. But anyway, we had a blast. It's very simple, and it's very well made, and the colors and everything is really bright, and the cactus and the little barrels and just the everything. I am so glad I picked this up. It is a lot of fun. It instantly became a family favorite. Like, my wife really liked it. She wants to play it some more. In fact, as soon as we got done playing the first round, I beat her, and she was like, "Hold on, no, we're playing again." And so we
That's
played again,
awesome.
and then she beat me, and I was like, "No, now we got to do best out of 3." And so, and then finally, I won the third game, and so, but we had a blast. We really had a good time, and that's Flick 'em Up by Pretzel Games.
Yeah, I'm really
I highly recommend
excited.
it.
I'm really excited to actually get to play that game because it sounds awesome.
It is.
And they're supposed to be coming out with like an expansion that adds like these wooden horses and like ramps and stuff like that.
Yep.
Did you see pictures of that? It looks crazy.
And when you were at Gen Con, they were demoing a giant version
yeah.
of Flick 'em Up. Well, they announced that they are going to start retailing that giant version. I believe the last quarter of this year, they're going to make it available for people that wanted the big version. The version that I played is definitely a lot smaller than what you saw at Gen Con, but it still works great. I mean, I've got big, ginormous hands, so like everything felt small, but it didn't feel too small. Like I wasn't having a hard time flicking anything or moving anything. It was a lot of fun, and it was so simple, and just like pulling out the cactus and the little barrels. It was cute. It was fun. Had an absolute blast. We'll play it again.
Small question for those people
Yes.
who haven't been to Gen Con. The huge version, is that like hockey puck size? Like, do I need to get like a
necessarily
small
big.
stick?
Not necessarily
like-
that big, but like, for example, in my version of Flick 'em Up, each little cowboy is about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches tall. So they're not very
Okay.
big. They're solid wooden pieces, but they're not very big. And I'd say they're about 1 to 1.5 centimeters in width. So they're big enough that they can stand on their own, and like a light breeze isn't going to knock them over. Or even if you hit them with the little bullet dice, it's not going to knock it over. Because there was a couple times she shot me and my guy didn't fall over.
I would say they probably double like the size of everything.
Pretty much. That's really what it was.
Okay.
So like the
thing that was
meeples
a lot
are
bigger
like twice
was
as
the,
big and twice. I mean, they're pretty small to
Yeah.
start with, so
Yeah.
they're like this big instead of
Yeah.
being like super small.
So like marshmallow rabbit size. Just
Yeah, they were
Weird
just
scale.
a little bit bigger, and I would say they were more tall than they were wide on the bigger. Because if you get too big, you know how hard you're gonna have to throw the disc to knock something over. They weren't too big, but it looked great. It looked great. But for those that didn't go to Gen Con, that were invited to go to Gen Con, that were told if they go to Gen Con, basically everything would be paid for, they missed out. Maybe next year they should just go.
maybe.
So on that note, Roy, what have you been playing?
I think I got roped into doing X-Men Mutant Revolution for what I've been playing.
Yeah.
What about Ryu?
Matt wants to talk about Ryu. Matt, go for
Sure.
it.
Well, wants to talk about and is easier for me to describe. Two very different things. But Ryu, a very Euro game in which you are a certain cult of humanoid that is trying to build a ship that resembles a dragon to appease the dragon gods or something. Not very much story
I'm
there.
pretty sure
It's
like
a
the
Euro
dragon
game.
god is coming back, and you're trying to appease him by building your dragon first. I was
Yeah,
fish.
it's-
I was shark people.
Yeah, I was the sweet frog dudes who made blimps. It was great. Everybody made fun of me for my blimp because it doesn't look like a dragon, but sweet frog dudes. So, but essentially the point of the game is everybody has a ship, and your ship consists of these 5 different tiles, and each tile has a certain number of cubes that you need to have in order to build it. So you move your people, which is represented by a cool wooden dragon token, around to these different swaths of land, and then you can pillage them or use them for their resources, however you want to work that one out for yourself. But essentially, you get cubes from these little points of land, just like any other Euro style game, and then you accumulate these cubes, and then you can spend them on your ship parts and stuff. But something that's interesting about this game that I haven't seen in other Euro games is there in the bag is a white cube, and the white cube is like the bringer of all pain and sweet justice. It's whenever somebody draws that, people choose a number of cubes that they have behind their little screen to bet. And you can bet 0, you can bet 1, you can bet all your cubes. But essentially, you hold out your hand, put it in the middle, and then everybody flips over. And the person with the highest number of cubes gets a free ship part. So it's one of those things that can be really cool and game-changing, but it also enables people to be like, I think that guy spent a bunch of cubes, so he probably doesn't have any cubes, so we can probably just discount and ignore him, because he's probably not going to do a whole lot for this next couple of turns.
Also, a thing about the bidding is anything you bid, you lose. So even if you lose the bid, you lose your cubes.
Yeah! Everything's gone.
It's pretty harsh.
There are some other interesting things. There's like one particular type of cube that's not used for building at all, like the yellow cube. It's just used to help you pillage or acquire resources from the land tiles. And when you run out of those, life gets really sad. There's also 2 different types of tokens. One is like a piracy token, and the other is like
I think it's like the governor's favor or something. Or emergent's favor or something like that.
One of them, depending on the locations you go to, you can either turn them in for cubes, or you can turn them in to steal stuff from people, or turn them in for like essentially a merchant token, which counts as like a colorless cube that you can just use for anything. But yeah, all in all, not that bad. Kind of fun. It's 45 minutes, which is, or I think our game was like 45 minutes long, which was kind of short for a Euro game. I feel like most of the ones we've played have been like very heavy and like, all right, guys, we're gonna be here for 3 hours and get ready to hang out with your cubes. I was about to
say, you haven't seen anything yet, Matt. If you go down that rabbit trail, it gets a lot deeper.
And it's like, it didn't suffer from one of those things that I typically find with like Euro games, where it's like when we played Eclipse. Like, it gets to the end game of Eclipse, and it's like there's one person who really cares about winning, and everybody else is like, yeah, this is my turn, this is what I make, here's my thing, okay, cool, can we move on now, please, thank you. And it gets very, like, tedious, and then one person's like, hold on now, did you say you had 7 cubes or 6 cubes? And it's like, I don't care. Can we just move on to the space battles and stuff? But this one didn't suffer from that at all. It was like, the whole time it was like, okay, things are happening, okay, oh, somebody drew the white cube. There goes the strategy. Perfect. Right out the window. Here we go. So,
to me, it feels like it's more like the weight of like Takinoko or like Settlers of Catan or something like that. So it's more like a lighter weight Euro that could be like very much like a family style game. But yeah, I think the blind bidding is kind of interesting because you kind of have to remember like how many cubes someone has. Because it's like if they strictly have more cubes than me, I should just bid nothing. But do they think that I'm going to bid nothing so that they're going to bid lower? And there's kind of like a little bit of mind games that you have to play in there. But the worst is when like you bid 5 cubes and they bid like 6 cubes and you just lost like 2 turns worth of work. Because you get like 2 or 3 cubes every turn. When you lose like 5, you've wasted like 2 turns of the game. And you're like, well, I'm out. Unless somebody else makes that same mistake, I'm pretty much done for.
Yeah.
So I tried not to make that mistake in this round of it, but I still did terrible, so it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that you could easily find some depth there if you're like one of those people who are like, okay, well, this is the strategy. I need to count cubes, and then you like just have everybody's cube count on lock, and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. But you could easily just sit down and play it and not care and still have just as much fun and just mellow out. And if you win, you win. You don't, because it's only 45 minutes. It's not like it's that big of a waste of time.
Is it 45 minutes because there's a timer, or that's just the average gameplay?
That was just the gameplay I experienced was roughly that long, and I think Trevor said from what he...
Well, because I know Eclipse can have a timer, correct? So like some games do have timers so I didn't know if it was that type of game.
In our game of Eclipse, we played like what was it, first to 10 points or something like that.
No. In Eclipse, it's 8 rounds. Whoever has the most points after 8 rounds.
That's right. Yeah,
which means that
and it's
everybody
just-
has to pass 8 times, hours long.
Yeah. Also a fun game. Just one of those where it's like, well, need to blow a Saturday, and
Yep.
so
We have
whereas
a
this, you
lot
could
of
probably
games
sit
like
down and
that.
play it,
We
like, 2
need
times.
we need another Saturday.
Board Game Corner says, he doesn't like the blind bidding aspect, but it does seem fit thematically. But he thought the game was a miss for him, which is Mark from the Board Game Corner, which is awesome.
Yes, Mark Steed, who is absolutely amazing. Love Mark. But I will say the only thing that really attracts me to this game whatsoever is the artwork.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think the artwork is absolutely beautiful. It's almost like Abyss for me, where I didn't buy Abyss, but I was so close to buying it just because of the artwork. This seems like this was that game this year as well. Ryu, the artwork, also by Asmodee as well. Beautiful, beautiful artwork. But again, it's a Euro, and I do like some bidding games, but I don't know. If you put Euro in, it doesn't work for me. So it looked like you guys had fun. Well, how about this? It looked like Matt and Trevor had fun. It didn't look like Roy had too much fun.
I was having fun. It was fun. I think it's a game that I could probably like play with my in-laws, but it's not something that I'm gonna like run out and buy for myself.
Yeah.
But I'll play it. I'll play it if someone wants to play it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that you can sit down and you go, hey, we're bored. And if you can't think of anything else off the top of your head, it's something that's easy enough to get people involved into.
Just stare at the awesome artwork. Just be like, man, this artwork
you
is
can
really
be
cool.
like, okay, here, check out this. These are sharks that ride a dragon.
I haven't built any part of my dragon, but at least I get to move this cool dragon meeple around, and I can pretend like it's doing something.
Well, the people that don't like that are more than welcome to play Ashes with me.
Yeah, that game is also beautiful.
So,
nice.
we want to get into our topic.
Well, yes.
We're going to spend another
but
30 minutes talking about games.
The next thing I want to talk about is what I've been painting as opposed to just what I've been playing. So I want to take a second to talk about. I got these ships made for Zaya. The designer, basically on the Kickstarter page, put up a print and play expansion with miniatures and all. So he literally has the 3D ship files that you can either download and use a 3D printer to print out, or he also has a link to where you can go to like Shapeways and like buy them from them and get them printed out. I had my friend Guy has a 3D printer at his work, and I was like, he also has Zaya. I was like, hey man, if you print out 2 copies of the ships, I'll print out all the boards and I'll paint them up. So I went and painted, and I put a bunch of pictures of these up on our Instagram if anybody wants to see them. But I have all these like cool like Zaya ships that I'm really stoked to play with. They came out pretty grainy and stuff, just because 3D printing, and it was an extruder 3D printer. So, and they're pretty small, so the detail isn't like super high, but I like sanded them down, and I think they look playable. So I think they're pretty good.
I thought the pictures you posted online looked good. But real quick, Guy, does he work in downtown?
He works in Greensboro, so.
But in the downtown area, does he play Magic?
He definitely does not play Magic. He plays lots of D&D.
Okay.
Anyway, what was I gonna say? But so, what do you guys think about this like 3D printed expansion for a board game?
I think it's a fantastic idea.
I could probably fill a whole podcast with that sort of information if we want to touch on it lightly, and then
are you a
back
fan
to
of 3D printers?
Yes.
Who isn't a fan of 3D printers?
I want to buy one right now. If I
my goodness, that is such a great idea, especially if you're like a D&D fan. Printing off your own characters, doing the different things.
I think it'd be cool to make a lot of like tiles and like terrain and like structures. I mean, I'm sure it'd take a long time to print it all out.
Have you seen that new 3D printer that does the liquid and it does the object upside down? It sucks it from the liquid and builds it upside down. It's so
amazing.
Cool looking.
Yeah.
I love that idea because
it does a better job and it's smoother.
It allows people to do like what he did on Zaya. You can put out that expansion and you can get product faster rather than having to wait for that overseas shipment. I don't know, maybe if there's a way where you could pay for the file So X companies still got their money for
I
putting
mean,
out.
that'd be easy to set up for different
But
companies.
That's
it's
the
3D printing is a new wave that's already hitting, but it's going to be big in the United States. Like it's going to be a big deal. We will definitely see more about 3D printing.
Um,
I love it.
do you think any like bigger publishers or anything will ever like pick up on like this sort of thing? Because I mean, this is the first time I've heard of anybody like releasing an official expansion for a game as a print and play, much less like here are the files to print out your own miniature. It's kind of like really awesome that he's doing it. And I mean, he's just like a Kickstarter guy.
Yeah.
And he only has one game to his name, but he's like trying to like foster this
It's an
whole
awesome game.
modding community
Yeah.
and the whole print your own ships and make up your own stuff community. So he's really excited about that because he's really excited about like modding in computer games. So he wants to bring that into the board game realm.
I mean, I would love to answer that question. Do you want to answer that, Matt?
I'm sorry, what I was looking at the Instagram to look at the ship photos.
So,
Like everyone else should be doing who's listening
Yeah.
to the audio right now.
Right.
Hit us up on the Instagram at Epic Gaming Night.
So here's what I think. I think that will become more accessible from bigger companies if we start to have issues with shipping again. Like
Yeah.
this past year, there was a big strike at one of the big ports in California. I think it was Oakland, and that shut down shipping for like 4+ months, where things were on such a big back order. And then not just strikes and things like that, but and I know it sounds kind of crazy, but not to get political or anything, but depending on our different trade agreements and how different things changes, I know different countries are starting to do certain things, and a specific country that prints a lot of things. I mean, check the bottom of your toy to see where it was printed from.
Yeah.
I know they're starting to make some different changes and different policies, and so it may cost companies more money, which will eventually cost us more money to have that printed at X factory, where they can't print 10,000 pieces for $10,000 anymore. It's 10,000 pieces for $20,000. And so I think as more and more 3D printers become available to the community, as more 3D printers become more of a normal thing, you will definitely see that happen. As long as we're having issues getting product over here. Now, if said company, like let's just throw it out, if Fantasy Flight can still keep their shipping costs down at X factory in X country, then they're going to use that because it's exclusive. As soon as you put that file on there, someone's going to, steal the file, do something.
Yeah.
So,
or even if they put it behind a paywall, somebody will buy it and then take it and then put it somewhere else. And
yeah, and put it somewhere else, and then people are going to. And so, until we run into those issues with cost and shipping or more strikes like we had this year, because I know it was a big issue this year, I don't see that becoming more for big companies. Maybe like the gentleman at Zaya or that small independent company. But big players, not yet. But I do see it coming. But like years down the road, though.
How long do you think it'll be until like you can actually buy a 3D printer and like it'll actually like hold like it's not hold its value, but like it won't be obsolete.
You'll actually get
like
return on investment.
yeah, because it seems like right now like the technology is advancing like so fast that as soon as you buy one, like in a year it'll be. I mean, I guess it's like that with all computer technology product, but like it's probably just better to wait currently until the price goes down and they get more detailed.
I mean, currently I think some of the cheaper like MakerBots and stuff you get are like $2,000 and up. So I mean, it's, and they're good for what they are, but they're also like first gen kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so
they're pretty limited also too on the size of things that they can print out as well. So,
I mean, definitely, like Rob said, as technology advances, you'll probably see more and more people adopt it. I don't know that you'll ever see big companies like Fantasy Flight do anything with it, except for maybe small patches to this or that, or something like, hey, guys, we know you really want customized miniatures for like Twilight Imperium, so we just went ahead and had a guy make them up, and then you guys can print them on your own. I can see them doing something like that they wouldn't want to like necessarily push a whole lot of funds into or make big.
Yeah.
Like, hey, check out this expansion.
But
It's
still
not really
make
an
a buck.
expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can make a quick like $5-10 or something for like on like a per race file type or something. And honestly, it's no skin off their back if somebody takes it and then just puts it on the internet and then you pick it up and take it because it's like, well, they're like, well, I mean, these people are playing the game, so when we come out with a full big box expansion, people will be like buying that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I think the 3D printers are going to kind of, and don't hold me to this, but they're kind of be like the VCR and the DVD and things like that. Remember when those first came out? Those were like hundreds of dollars back in the day. Those VCRs that were half metal, 3 or 1/4 wood and the other quarter like rubber and plastic. Hundreds of dollars. You can go get a VCR or DVD player for like $10-15 now. And so as it becomes bigger and more popular, the price is going to go down because the demand is going to be so much higher. So we just got to wait. We're at the forefront of that technology revolution right now when it comes to 3D printing.
I think what's going to be really interesting is if in a couple of years you see something along the lines of small startup companies, instead of taking a Kickstarter, making all of the files and stuff on their own and then saying, hey guys, here's this game. I'm just going to release the files for the whole game for free and you can 3D print everything if you want to. And if you feel like it was a good enough game or anything like that, feel free to just like leave a tip or a donation or something like that. And then you'll start to have a lot of just indie people pop up out like all over the place, and then eventually they'll get snatched up by the big companies because they're like, hey man, you got good ideas and stuff, let's publish them.
I mean, it could definitely revolutionize like miniatures games, ones that are like strictly miniatures. It's like all you need is rules and then just print your own miniatures. Like, how do you want your faction to be? Well, just print it that guy with those specific weapons so he has these specific stats. So it's really cool.
The only issue that I could see right now is the process right now is still, it's a long process. It's not like, you just hit a button and a couple minutes later. No, this is like a long process to print some of this stuff out.
I was asking one of my other friends I was going to get to print like some Battle Lore stuff for me, like some terrain. I asked him like how much the plastic was going to cost.
Bro, hook me up with some Battle Lore terrain.
Exactly. I was like, how much does a plastic cost? Because I could like try to like reimburse you for that. He's like, dude, the electric bill just for running it for like the 4 hours that it has to run is probably more expensive than the plastic it uses to make it. So it just has to like run for a long time. I was like, okay, well, that's cool, I guess.
I have to turn off half of my house to be able to run this thing right now. So
I'm sure it's not that bad. He was just saying it takes a long time to print as opposed to the plastic is not very expensive.
It does. So
awesome. So that was 3D printing coming to a future near you.
If we could fill another 17 minutes, we could just put the topic that we had at hand off to something else. I mean,
yes and no. I'm actually really excited for tonight's topic.
Okay, cool. So our topic is negotiation in games. So this could be anything from trying to talk someone into trading you something and like Settlers of Catan, or like, dude, don't attack me, man. I know like my units are weak over here, man, but don't do it right now. Or like, hey, man, it's chickens in that bag. It's just chickens, man. Like it's cool, man. I'll give you. I'll give you a coin. So like, there's all sorts of different ways to negotiate, and it's basically just the communication between players. So what are some games with negotiation, guys?
My favorite game still right now of all time is Game of Thrones. I love Game of Thrones. It's just absolutely amazing. And that game you have to negotiate so hardcore, and then you have to not lie. It's like
or lie at the appropriate time.
But there's no appropriate time. Like the game, I don't know if you guys have played it, but you have to maybe not lie, but I'm going to put down a token and I'm not attacking you, all right? And so we built like a friendship and stuff like that, and then I reveal my token and I'm totally stabbing you in the back and taking over everything. But that game has got a lot of negotiation on every aspect of the game, because not only am I attacking you, but you can negotiate with somebody else that they can use their army to help defend your army as well. I think he's getting it. And so Game of Thrones, I was just saying that you can negotiate with other players when you're fighting somebody to have them actually defend your army as well and to back up. So there's negotiations on top of negotiations. It's a lot of fun. Absolutely love that game. And I have a list of games like I normally do, but I'll let you guys go through some games as well. So that's my number one, Game of Thrones. It's awesome. I have all the expansions. Be my best friend, and you can play it.
I think there's a lot of like awesome ones. Like I was talking about a little bit, Sheriff of Nottingham is really awesome.
That's on my list as well.
You can definitely like play up like the hey man, it's all good. Like there's a lot of bluffing in there also, but like you can actually like barter with them. You can be like, hey man, I'll give you a coin to like not open it, or like dude, no, five man. And I mean that could be a bluff in itself, like trying to like pay them a whole bunch of money. They're like, well, obviously he's lying. I'll just snap it open because I know he's lying, and I'm sure I'm gonna get something from that. So it's kind of interesting because like negotiation with the fact that you can just straight up not be telling the truth at all.
Or you could just grab somebody's bag. Oh, that's Matt's bag. Okay, snap. Don't even give him a chance to negotiate.
Just take the negotiation out.
Oh, hey, what's your name? Your name is Roy? Okay, thanks. Pop. Just the game. In fact, that's the game. That's actually how Roy... flower of love and friendship started. But that wasn't weird. Anyway, Sheriff of Nottingham was a great game. Love that game.
What's another negotiation game, Matt?
Well, let's see. The one I keep coming back to is One Night Ultimate Werewolf.
I was thinking that was a really good one too.
Because it's technically different from what you guys are talking about. It's negotiation in the sense that everybody's like, somebody's a murderer.
Yeah.
Quickly, let's find out who
I
it
agree.
is.
It's totally negotiation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it is, but it's like, I feel like in other games, especially like the ones you guys are describing, it's like, okay, I've got X number of sheep, you've got X number of logs. Let's make a quick little agreement here. And like, One Night Ultimate Werewolf's just like, people are like throwing shoes and they're like, no, it's this dude. It's always this dude. Just kill him. He's being so quiet
every time.
Just either that or we're hate crime and Phil. Whatever happens to go there. I mean,
it's just like trying to negotiate everyone's buy-in. Like, dudes, guys, I figured it out. You guys just need to like understand and help me out, guys. Come on, like this is what we need to do. Like we're on the same side, guys, right? We're together in this, right?
It's just
Hector's
5 minutes
really
of
good
like
at that
panic.
game.
Have you played it with Hector and Danny at the same time?
Oh my
yes! Oh my gosh, they're a deadly
Those
combo.
guys.
It's so ridiculous because they're so believable. Their faces are so nice. They're just like, no, I'm not the werewolf. No,
ridiculous.
It's like, okay, you're not a werewolf. I believe you.
And it's
they're
like
totally the killers.
And I love it. I love it because Hector always plays like the gullible guy. He's like, guys, I don't even know what's going on right now. And it's like he totally does. And then Danny's like spinning like intricate webs of lies like over on the other side of the table, and it's like, what in the world is going on?
They are a dangerous combo.
Whenever they're both the werewolf together, like we should just hang up the thing.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's winning at that point except for them. It's ridiculous.
I just want to believe everything that they say.
So gaming Yeti plays in chat says Spartacus, which is also the X-Men Revolution game. So there's totally negotiation in that where like Trevor's like, hey Matt, we need to stop Roy. Let's work together to stop Roy. Or you're like, hey, give me some of your plot points so that we can wreck this guy. So you have to like work out like how you're going to spend the resources to mess someone else up. And I can do my failed negotiation of like, hey guys, it's okay. Like it's okay, guys. Like, don't make me lose points. Like, don't wreck me. Like, don't team up against me. I'm sorry that I'm like 3 points ahead of y'all, but negotiation doesn't work when you're just flat out winning.
You know, it's another fun game that I really like playing with negotiation is Dead of Winter, because everyone has their own secret objective, but I have to convince somebody to go in that room and kill those zombies so I can go collect food, or I have to convince somebody, help. Like for example, when we played the food ration one, hey Roy, I know you have food, bro. Help out the group. Give us your food. I don't want to give you my food. I need to have 2 cans of food to complete my secret objective. And so that's a game that I really like playing. That's got that deep negotiation where you're just trying to get other people to do things for you with you not doing so much, where you can still go search for all the people and all the guns.
Or where you strong arm negotiate and are like, hey man, if you don't do this, you're the betrayer.
You're the betrayer.
Like you need to do it right now, or you're the betrayer. Obviously, you're the betrayer. And I love doing that when they actually like are like the traitor or like are the Cylon, and I like force them into doing something like really good for the party because I'm like, dude, if you don't do this, you're wrong, and we're gonna throw you in the brig, and they're just like, okay, I guess I'll do that so I don't get thrown in the brig.
Or they're not the betrayer, and they just do it because someone is literally yelling at them. Voices
you gotta do what you gotta
literally
do.
Yelling at them.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
I felt like I was grounded. I just felt like I was in trouble. Like I went, like I should just go home and
Matt,
just like, sit in the corner.
Go find the body. Go find. You don't need more might.
Matt.
Go find the body, Matt.
No, that's okay, man.
I want to be real strong.
All the might. But no, I remember that game of Dead of Winter. Like, I was trying to convince Roy not to move to another location to search for something, because I'm like, hey, man, if you don't move there, Sparky the Wonder Dog can just come up and shoot you with a shotgun next turn, and I'll win the game.
Yes.
And of course, he moves and rolls the insta-die, and that was the game. And I was like, I was one turn away? So why?
But didn't you win the game, though?
No, he lost with us. So he was supposed to have like the most people or something?
Yeah, I had to, I think, have the next person up follower-wise, I had to have 2 more than the person below me.
And that's Dead
We
of
need to play
Winter.
that game
And
again.
Roy was like 1 below me, so I was like, okay, I just need to murder one of his dudes real quick, and that'll end the game, and then I'll be 2 up, and yay!
I had so many people die in that
good.
game.
I think everybody did.
Yeah, I guess
need to
that is
play
that
that
game.
again.
Dead of Winter.
That Lighthouse card.
So, what is it that you guys like about negotiation games?
It adds a lot of character to something that might only be card.
It does. It does. It really does. It changes the game because it's not so much you're following a rule, but now you're playing against people and their emotions and their intelligence. Because like you play a game, like a Euro game, I have X meeple goes to A and B. Okay, great. But this, I'm like, hey buddy, why don't you help me out over here? And I'm not playing, I'm not playing Dead of Winter anymore. Right now I'm playing Roy. Hey Roy, how you doing, friend? I'll go microwave that burrito for you real quick. Why don't you go over here and do this thing for me? And
Dude, man, don't forget those McDoubles.
Bro, he still owes me 1 McDouble favor. I love it because it brings in the human aspect of the game. Not that there wasn't before, but it really makes me interact with people, and it can bite you in the butt. But I love it that it expands on just beyond the cardboard of the game or the plastic.
I think it's one thing that like board games does really good. That like there, I don't know. Maybe Matt, you know of something that I don't, but like it doesn't seem like there's many like video games where it's like really negotiation. Like games that are multiplayer, it's still like skill and you're like doing specific things. It's not as much where you're trying to like talk people over, smooth talk people into doing what you want as much as it is like in board games. You can like look someone in the eye and be like, hey man, we need to do this, we need to attack this person because they're winning right now, we need to work together and make this happen, or else they're gonna run away with the game. So
I mean, the closest possible like contemporary in video games I can think of offhand that like I play is like if you play Civ 5 with like friends and stuff.
Yeah.
Like we'll all get into like a hangout or mumble or whatever and just be like hanging out like, yeah, okay, cool. But a lot of times there's not very much conversation that goes on about the game. It's more just like, man, this person is really trying to dick us over. And then we'll be like, okay, so we're just trading stuff, and like there's very little like actual like, hey, so if you do this for me, some super sweet things could happen for you in terms of like monetary reward. Because it's like, I guess typically when we play too, all of the people do so much better than the bots themselves that it's just like, okay, well, the 3 of us are just trying to rush toward a cultural victory because nobody wants to get in a fight, especially not in multiplayer because it takes years. So it's like, here we go. But I don't know.
I love it. I think it's fantastic. It changes the game for me, and especially changes who I play with also. And I think that's like the counter to that question: what do you love about it? To what do you hate about it?
Right.
I hate dumb negotiators.
Yeah.
They get on my nerves so bad. And here's what I mean by a dumb negotiator. Like for example, Dead of Winter. If you need to hold on to your stuff to win the game, you're not a dumb negotiator. You need to hold on to your stuff, and so you're not going to take somebody just yelling at you really loud to give up this stuff. You're going to do what you have to do. But let's say we're playing a game, and Roy and I, it is in our best interest that we stop Matt this one turn. And I'm trying to convince Roy, hey, buddy, if we do this, Matt is going to be set up where in 2 turns he can win the game, no problem, if he does this right now. Mm-hmm. And Roy's like, no, Matt's my friend. I don't want to hurt Matt. Yeah, but I want to try this other really stupid idea over here that has a 1 in a billion chance of working. I hate people that can't see the light. We need to get to A, B, C. Matt holds B and C right now. Let's stop him from getting A and maybe take B from him. No, he's illiterate. He needs to learn his ABCs. Need help, man. I've played with people like that before, and that gets on my nerves so bad. And it's not a friendship thing. It's just common sense. You're playing this game. Would you like to win the game? Okay, because I would like to win the game. The objective is for somebody to win, and it's going to hurt you if we let Matt do this, so Matt will win. And I really hate people that are they're just dumb negotiators, and they just give up the game because they're their friend, or they're just not paying attention.
Right.
I'd agree. People that we know that I don't play with anymore that have done that to me in the past. I'm like, For example, I was playing a game and they were like, no, I'm not going to do that. It's not honorable. We were playing a game and I was like, hey, I could help you win right now. You could win the game right now, which that would help me win other games. He was like, no, that's not honorable. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to mention any names, but that's why I don't play with that guy anymore, because just it really rubbed me the wrong way. So.
What was I going to say? I played a game of Cosmic Encounter, and Cosmic Encounter is one of my favorite negotiation games. It's all about making alliances and shifting alliances, and you're going after attacking different people every round, so you have to have new people on your side. But it's very much a game that you play, the mechanics are there for the game and stuff, but a lot of the game is the people and how you make these alliances and who you work together to stop. Because just by the nature of the game, a lot of the races are not balanced. So the balancing of the game has to come from the players who are playing it. Yeah. And if there's a race that's really strong, the players have to work together to stop that player from just steamrolling everybody. But I played a game once, and I love this game. But I basically wanted to quit the game halfway through because, well, for one, I had to explain the rules over and over and over again. And I normally have no problem explaining how to play this game. But it was really difficult for a few of the people to grasp, and I was trying to explain to people, hey man, this guy wants his ships to die. His character wins if all of his ships go to the void. He wins the game. We have to do whatever we can to make sure he's not losing any more ships. And so I was trying to explain to him exactly what was going on, and the guy's like, hey man, do you want to ally with me so we can do this thing? I'm like, he's going to purposely lose, and he's going to put all of his ships in there. If you let him do that, he's going to win. And they just weren't understanding what I was saying, or they thought I was trying to mess them over or something, but I was trying to explain the rules and the situation and what was going on, and the guy just won like that. The game was not super long, but it felt like ages going by with the people I was playing. So I totally agree. Negotiation games, since they're very much about the people, playing the people instead of actually playing the game, if you're playing with the wrong group, it's a no-go.
It really is a no-go.
Or if you're just with people that won't negotiate or just don't talk at all. I've had people play the same Cosmic Encounter and they just never allied with anyone, and they did really bad during the entire game, and I don't think they enjoyed it at all. So, it's a game where you have to work together and make things happen.
I would take that over the guy who's dumb.
It's the one that we played at my birthday party, and
I tried to win by myself.
You tried to win by yourself, which is totally fine, but you allied here and there at different points. But that game is totally just all about where the alliances are made, and I've totally won that game by myself, but you have to choose your battles and figure out how you want to do it. But yeah, if you have the chance, go for it. So
it was fun,
but it's an uphill battle.
Yeah, it is, especially when your dad's just and we're just going to ignore that round, and it's oh, come on, man.
That's what you got to do. It's all about that game where it's this guy doesn't win. Okay, now it's this guy's time to win. And are you going to be on the ship with him as it's sailing to victory, or are you going to be on the opposite side to try to stop his victory train? And it's all about trying to work with the people to figure out how to actually be part of that winning party.
Oh, it was like when we played Survive, and me and Ryan were like, "Hey, man, you want to get all our people off the island?" He's like, "Yeah, man." So we just started loading up boats. And
Who did that work better for?
It worked better for him because I forgot where my tokens were situated, and he did not. So I think at one point I was like, "He's ahead of me, and I know he's ahead of me, so I need to drive this boat into a dragon." and so that's what it did.
That's awesome.
And I think it lost him his 5, and it only lost me a 3, but he still had a significant jump on me. So I was like,
I just remember that game we sat down at the very beginning, and Ryan Bradley's like, "All right, the goal of this game is to destroy all of Roy's meeples," and I'm just like, guys, come on, guys.
Hey, now to be fair, Hector lost that game a lot harder than you did.
Which I'm sorry, Hector. That's really sad because they were literally trying to destroy me. No one ever said, "Hey, let's destroy all of Hector's meeples," but it just happened.
I didn't mean to. It was just like, "Hey, man, you got a card that makes you move a dragon somewhere else," and I'm like, "Okay, let's put it over
we'll
by
just kill
Hector's
your guys off. Oh man, that game's awesome.
I need to play that with y'all.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's goofy. Especially when those whirlpools start coming up.
What is you guys' favorite negotiation game?
I already said mine, Game of Thrones. I love it. I love the thematics of it. Rather, if you're a fan of the books or not, I'm just a big medieval fan. You know, I love all that fantasy type stuff. And then the types of negotiations that you have to do in the game, and the fact that I really don't know if I'm trusting you. Like, you're saying you're doing this, but I really have no idea if you're really doing what you're saying, and it makes me so nervous. Like, every time I get done playing the game, I have to go to the bathroom because, like, my stomach is just like, it's killing me. But I love it. So, Game of Thrones for me, easily number 1.
My number 1 is the one I can see right behind you. I think it's over your left shoulder.
Oh, Twilight Imperium?
Twilight Imperium. There's
Oh my gosh.
tons of negotiation in Twilight Imperium.
I wanted to list that.
And it's kind of a cop-out because Twilight Imperium is like my favorite game of all time. But like the law comes out. How are we going to pass this law? You're trying to like talk people into voting on your side that'll help you out. And like, oh man, they're going to try to like nerf all of my huge ships that I just built. No, guys, we can't do that. Like, I need these ships to actually work. Come on. Or like, oh, there's War Suns. That's easy. We all vote because we all want War Suns.
Except for me, I did all the research. The research.
And then besides the laws, there's a ton of like, hey man, my defenses are weak here, and you got a lot of ships, man, but if you attack me, like, I just want you to know what's going to happen. If you come over here, like, there's going to be a price to pay.
Yeah.
And like, hey guys, let's like work, like, they're winning. We need to stop them. Like, they've got Mechatol, they're going to get tons of points. We need to jump on them. There's too many planets there. We can't burn the whole planet. Like, we need like a literal Death Star to blow the thing up to get those planets off of there. But
yeah.
But just like, sometimes you're working together depending on who's winning, and sometimes you're working against each other, and like you jump on the opportunities to get things when you can. I love the game. There's like negotiation through the whole thing. So
oh yeah, it's definitely an easy favorite. It was going to be on my list, but I thought you were going to mention it, so I didn't say it.
Nice.
Well, since you two came out with like arguably 2 of the heaviest games ever, I'll go for just One Night Ultimate Werewolf, because it's strictly negotiation. Like, the entire game is just talking. You get a card, you look at the card.
Would you pick that over Sheriff of Nottingham?
Yes.
Oh, is that because though? Well, you haven't played Sheriff of Nottingham though with us though.
Who's played it with me?
I've played it with Roy. I haven't played it with you. It's
okay.
That game to me is just, hey, did you want to figure out how bad you are at bluffing?
That's your fault.
I'll show you.
That's your fault.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'll be like, okay, I haven't done anything bad. Everything's fine. People keep opening my stuff. I'm getting paid. Okay. I'm sure nobody's keeping track of this but me. All right. Like 18 pepper right here in this bag. And then like Ryan Ortiz just looks at me before I can even say anything, opens it up, and I'm like, well, I'm broke. That's it. Game over. That's trading venture now defunct.
That would actually be a fun game to play with like Ryan and AJ on how random and crazy they are.
Oh man, I need to play that with AJ.
I could just
the
see
bag
that
every time.
Every single time. I could just see it being completely random. Or he wouldn't open the bag just to mess with you. Oh man, you're good. I trust you. No, you're supposed to open my bag. I put all legit stuff in there.
The one time, actually, what was I going to say? Never mind. I lost it.
That one time, guys.
The One Night Ultimate Werewolf. I apologize. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was still on Sheriff of Nottingham.
And side note, there was a Kickstarter recently for the One Night Ultimate Vampire, which just adds right into the One Night Ultimate Werewolf stuff. So it's just all a whole bunch more roles, but it's all like vampire themed stuff.
I'll probably pick that up actually once it comes out.
Yeah.
Kickstarter.
One Night Ultimate Cthulhu.
I'm not crazy.
Pretty much.
That's what
When they did that One Night Resistance thing,
Mm-hmm.
which that looked kind of cool. I actually, for the rules on that seemed kind of interesting. But the vampire, that'll help me get my Twilight addiction going again.
Yeah, man. Sparkly vampires. I know how you are.
Bro. All right, real quick, sides. Would you rather be a vampire that has to sleep 10 plus hours of the day, or you just be a vampire that had superpowers and you sparkled? He could read people's minds and go super fast, and he could live every second of the day.
I know. He's like OP. Like, I don't understand. Like, I saw, like, for some reason, before, I mean, I guess it was still pretty big, but my wife made me watch the first movie.
She's a
and
smart woman.
I immediately said, why are they not ruling this planet? Like, I don't understand. There's no downside at all. Like, they just win. Like, why are they hiding? Like, what's to hide? There's nothing to hide. They sparkle like gods. I don't understand. It's amazing. Huge flaw in the story. Terrible.
Guys.
Terrible. Why are we talking about this?
Why are we talking?
beautiful.
I'm going to have to cut this
No.
out. Ugh. You tricked me, Rob.
I have never seen or read anything about this, so I have learned more in the last 30 seconds about this
My
franchise.
wife says
I care
I'm
to.
37% gay because I love Twilight so much. It's all right, though.
I don't.
I do. I've read the book multiple
God.
times. I've seen all the movies. I have the collector's edition.
So the applications for podcast hosts can be
Man.
found at... Just kidding.
Oh, man. Anyway. I do have a poster. Anyway.
Awesome.
So the next question.
So does anybody have any epic stories about negotiating in a game?
Yes. So, playing Game of Thrones, and it was myself and Lee and Ben and Jeremy and Jordan. And side note, Jordan is one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life. He's hilarious. So, here's the problem. With my old gaming group in Arkansas, if you got up to go to the bathroom, you immediately were going to die. It didn't matter what happened. You left the room, and so everyone now starts talking about you. I made that mistake on this night. I really had to go to the bathroom. We were playing Game of Thrones, and I was the Greyjoys. And so I'm on my island. No, I wasn't the Greyjoys. I was the Martells. I was in the bottom right corner. I was the Martells, doing my thing, having great. Like, everyone's pretty even in the game, and I'm at 3 castles, and I'm tied with somebody else for first place. Not being a real big threat, right? Just having fun. Hey guys, I got to go to the bathroom. It's not my turn for a little bit, so I'm just gonna walk away. As soon as I left the table, it's like they stood up to see once the bathroom door closed. They started what's called the Lion Wolf Squid Alliance. They even they went so far that they wrote.
Did the
signs.
Reigns of Castamere start playing like as you left the room?
Oh my gosh, it was so bad. So the Lannisters teamed up with the Greyjoys because the Greyjoys had ships near me, and I was coming up towards the Lannisters. So they teamed up together and immediately just started wrecking me. And with Game of Thrones, you're allowed to use coins that allow you to assist either your own army or other people's armies.
Support.
And so I came back, and I'm like, wash my hands, everything's good, let's play. And I started doing my move, and all of a sudden, all of these coins start to get flipped over on what people are going to start doing. And I'm like, why does he have a support coin? Why is this happening right here? He has a march coin. He has a defend coin. Like, not at all what I thought was going to happen, right? Not at all. I was thinking, okay, he's going to go so-and-so, he's going to go so-and-so. They conspired to destroy me. Every single person defended where they needed to defend, attacked, and the other person supported where they... I got crushed. And then the next turn, the Starks join the group, and so it became Lion Squid Wolf, and they got so bad with it, and they were laughing about it so hard. They even wrote down a design for a T-shirt on like a piece of paper saying, "We're going to sell these," the new Lion Squid Wolf Alliance. And I just got wrecked so bad. I still love that game, even if I lose horribly.
So is that a story of failed negotiations?
No, because they like.
Because they negotiated very well. You negotiated poorly.
Well, no, see, I thought I was negotiating well. Me and the Baratheons were near each other. We're doing our thing. And the Lannisters were fighting the Starks at the time, which is very similar to the book. So I was like, okay, this is great. Like, I don't have to worry about this. Maybe the Greyjoys, because they have ships down here now. But no, oh my gosh, it was the opposite. The Greyjoys and the Lannisters were my problem. And then the Starks came on board next round. It was horrible. It was so epic, though. I did not see it coming, and I think that's what makes it so epic for me. But it was such a blast. Again, it's one of the games where I don't care if I lose horribly or if I win in glorious triumph. I absolutely love that game. And that's Game of Thrones. Awesome, awesome game.
So I was playing a game of Cosmic Encounter once, and it was a ridiculously tight game. So to win Cosmic Encounter, you're all different alien races, and you're trying to get settlements on 5 enemy planets. We were all at 4, every single one of us. So we're all at the same number. So the next person's turn was Ryan Bradley. He was going to go, and everybody was praying that he wasn't going to draw their color, because then he had to go against them. Or at least if he did, he had negotiates where he could actually negotiate and you could win jointly. But if he draws your color, he's attacking you, so everybody can ally with him and win against you. And he drew my color, so it was me versus him, and I'm like, oh man, this is terrible. This is the worst. And I was like, guys, my turn had just gone, so I had just gotten to 4, so I didn't really have a whole lot of strength to be able to say, hey man, I'm going to help us win next turn if you guys stop him from winning right here. Basically, I was trying to negotiate and work it so that I wasn't just getting dogpiled by everybody. I failed that negotiation terribly, and everybody's like, we all ally with the offense, we're all going to fight against you. And I'm like, I can't stand against this. And Ryan Bradley was like, oh, just to make this even sweeter, I'm going to play this, and you immediately have to KO 3 of your ships. I forgot which phase he was allowed to play the card, but he made it so that I had to lose ships. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I removed a couple more ships from my homeworld, and I had a flare or something that said if you lost your character power, you could immediately put a ship on another planet, any planet anywhere on the board that was an enemy planet. So after I lost my power for my race, I got to put a ship on another planet, which immediately made me have 5. So I immediately won the game, in the middle of the game before the attack even finished.
That's awesome.
So they were all we were all teamed up against you, and then you won the game because he played a card that he didn't have to play at all to win. So that was failed negotiation, but it stunk for them. Well, he didn't realize that by him killing off my guys, it was going to allow this card to trigger so that I could throw a ship over there. It was super combos.
But he didn't need to play the.
They were all high-fiving me on how awesome the game was.
Yeah.
After I won, after they were all attacking me, and I had tried so hard to get them not to attack me.
That is awesome.
But yeah, Cosmic Encounter is an amazing game, especially when you play it with the correct group of people.
How about you, Matt?
Well, I feel like the best strategy that I've had that paid off in a negotiation game was the one I'd already talked about a little earlier, where I convinced Trevor to give me some of his plot points so that I could bring us all up to 6 and then send the Danger Room in to murder everybody.
Yes.
Which was great.
Yeah, I think having all of us at 6 points, because, were you going to be able to get to 6 points if he wasn't, helping you out?
I would have been able to, yes. But
Would have been harder.
The way it played out, I wouldn't have been able to, because we were tied, and I had something that would just give me points if I was the last person, but we just kept being tied the whole way through, and I'm just like, man, you know, it'd be swell if I was behind for once and I can just play this card here. But it just never came up that way, and I was like, okay, let's throw this away for money and try to convince Trevor to give me some plot, and then we'll all go to 6, and then everything will be fine, and then Danger will rue the day.
Super giant, like, multi-combat where
Yeah.
Danger beat Magneto and Wolverine single-handedly without much of a struggle.
And without a break or a rest in between.
Exactly. You're like, beat Magneto? Who's next? Wolverine? Easy.
Like, I say that, hey, man, it was all because Danger was super overpowered, but honestly, for some odd reason, that small corner of the table, my right hand was just throwing 5s and 6s constantly, and everybody was just like, guys, what? I can't do this. And I'm just like, yay, look at all these Yahtzees.
Oh, yeah, man. Matt's dice
That was-
were so hot, like 5s and 6s constantly. And I'm like, dude, this would be okay. Like, your character's better already, but if you could just roll a little bit worse, like, it'd be okay. He's like, no,
stand a chance.
solid gold.
Like,
I was
that
like,
was the-
dude, forget the game. Let's go to Vegas, man. Let's make
Right.
this
That was-
happen right
like-
now.
Even when I was fighting against Trevor, Trevor was rolling well. And he was like, man, I might actually have had a shot at this if you literally just didn't roll 5s and 6s constantly. Because it's just like, hey, how many dice do you get to attack? Oh, 5. So you're attacking outside of range with 5 die. How many of those hit? All of them. Oh,
Yeah. It's pretty, pretty
oh
awesome.
goody. And then he
Yes.
only had I think he only had like 4 defense die, and he's just like, oh, well, that everything went through. Perfect, thanks. I'm like, yay!
After you take like 5 hits in that game on a character, your character's just like all like laying on the ground, all crippled, and
Yeah.
it's like, I attack you back with 2 attack dice, and they're like, blocked. Don't even care. Oh,
Right.
man. You get
it's
hit
good.
It's a
hard
fun
and you're
game.
down for the count. So that's pretty much been a podcast, guys.
What about the
Do we have a question this week?
I was gonna just do it next week.
Okay,
Never
well, I didn't know. I was
mind.
just asking if we had a.
Since we're a little bit over, we can go ahead and do it next week. But if anybody wants to send us questions, feel free to email us at epicgamingnight@gmail.com. So send your questions to us there, and we will try to answer them on a different show.
And maybe next
Boom.
week we'll answer more questions.
Exactly.
If people send
What?
them.
No,
Since we
next
have-
week we're not going to. Next week we have a surprise guest or special guest next week, don't we?
It's going to be
Yeah.
next week. Joshua from Gray Fox Games. He is a developer there. He helped like develop Champions of Midgard and other games that they've done there.
May have
So
heard
we're
of
going to
it.
be talking to him about the development process and how that
Yeah.
looks for board games. So make sure to tune in next week, either on the live stream or the podcast on iTunes. But yeah, we stream every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's at www.twitch.tv/Epic Gaming Night. We also play
.com.
no, it's not .com.
.org.
Is,
That's right, .org.
Trolls.
Yeah.
But then we also play live games on Friday nights from 6 to 10 p.m., and that's at the same Twitch channel. And we also try to put some of those videos up on YouTube, so check that out as well. Just look up Epic Gaming Night on YouTube, and that'd be awesome. Hit us up on Twitter and Instagram. We like to answer any board game related questions there.
Yes.
And it's awesome to interact with you guys. So thanks everybody
Yes, it
that
is.
hits us up there. But yeah,
You can ask me questions on Twitter. I'm at Big Guy Newman, BIGGUYNEWMAN, and same handle for Instagram, Big Guy Newman.
And
So-
if you want to go ahead and ignore what Rob said about asking questions and send in all the questions next week, we can ask our special guest some of the questions.
exactly.
Oh no, I was just talking about for like Twitter and stuff like that. Like because I know
Gotcha.
Lori and I post a lot of pictures and stuff online. If you guys have questions about games and things like that, we'd love to answer them.
Awesome, guys. Well, it has totally been a blast.
Thank you, Matt's beard. Thank
I
you
will-
for allowing him.
Yeah.
I will negotiate with you guys next time.
Shout out to your wife. She's super cool for letting us do this all the time, Roy.
Yeah, man.
It's my wife. She's told me on multiple occasions, you're not doing game night every single week at our house. I don't think so. So
Gotta negotiate, man.
shout out to Heather.
Peace. Negotiation.